Hi, everybody. Welcome to a special Saturday edition of Teaching Crypto. Going solo here today, and I wanted to update you guys on some important news. First, we're going to start with Voyager, and you probably heard that Steve Ehrlich, after a year and a half, is finally being held accountable. Hopefully, this is it. So we'll see what happens, but he's accused by the CFTC of lying about the safety of customer assets. This is the first step. Now, this is not a criminal charge. This is just a lawsuit, but hopefully this is just the beginning because I think Steve has gotten away with a lot more than he should have, and hopefully he is held accountable sooner rather than later. Speaking of FTX and Voyager, you know that mediation is going on for several $100 million. Well, recently it was announced that Genesis is going to pay FTX $175 million in a settlement. Now, you might say, well, that's not good news. However, the original amount that FTX asked for was 3.9 billion. So that's a fraction that they gave them. And so that it gives me hope that hopefully Voyager can wrap things up over the next 2 weeks, and that Voyager customers, all of us are in that boat, will get a check, hopefully sometime, probably early 2024 would be my guess, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Yeah, I hope we do get that check, but never assume anything at this point. And then hopefully the Voyager situation wraps up. They end the wind down sometime in 2024, and customers get the most they can, and that's over. And hopefully there's a bull run on the way, and people can recover as much as possible, if not gain more than they originally had. That would be the hope, and hopefully this show helps people do that. Now, let's turn to some good news on the Saturday. The SEC decided late last night not to appeal the Grayscale decision. So here's why this is significant. This means that we are more and more likely going to see a Bitcoin ETF before March of 2024 and before the Bitcoin halving. That means billions of dollars are probably going to trade into BTC sooner rather than later. Now, let me explain why this is a super, super big deal. I went and checked the chart. Exactly 4 years ago, Bitcoin was trading a little over $8,000. Now we know that we went over 64K at the height of the last bull run, right? So here's the thing: you do an 8x, obviously that's that's pushing 200K, but really even a 4x, you're getting well above 100K, and so that means that gives altcoins room to grow if we do have a traditional bull run, and that's what most of us are expecting. But again, never expect anything to happen exactly the way it did before. It's not likely to happen. All the bull runs in the past, and this has only been happening for 13 years, right? So you gotta be careful. Have been a little bit different, but hopefully 2024, 2025 brings everyone on this show some prosperity, because I think some good signs are here. Whether or not the government decides to cut rates before April 1st next year is up to anyone's guess. But I think we're headed in the right direction. A lot of people are still calling for a recession. However, the longer people call for a recession and the longer it doesn't happen, the more or less likely it will happen. That doesn't mean it won't. But if I had to guess, and this is just an educated guess, I don't think we're going to see a full recession in 2024. And I think there will be a Bitcoin and an altcoin bull run coming up. And I think things will really get heated up. And I was hoping that October would be an October. Now, to be honest, I might be going 0 for 2 now over the last 3 months, because September I did call for not so great of a month, and we kind of stayed steady. But Bitcoin did fail to grab that 28K. It had to beginning of October. And so right now we're really, really struggling to hit that 32K guess that I had, that prediction. It's not looking great. And my 40 earlier this summer, earlier I really thought that Bitcoin would hit 40, and then we would come back down to the mid to low 30s as a retrace, and then come February, March next year, speed back up into the halving. It does not look like that's going to happen at all, right? Now, never say never. Here's the thing: an ETF could be approved at any time. And hi to all our viewers that are joining us live. We really appreciate it. Please hit that like, that subscribe button. Super chats are always available and appreciated. So anyone that's been with us from the beginning or that's come along, we greatly, greatly appreciate your support. Absolutely. Uh, so, here's the thing. We always talk about patience actually in the crypto market. And people think, oh, I'm going to get into crypto, I'm going to make some quick cash. Well, actually, it takes a lot of patience because right now we're not really in a full bull run. Now, things got heated over the summer at 31.8 for Bitcoin, and a lot of people expected things to kind of boom. It just hasn't happened, right? And so now it's the waiting game. Can you wait until 2024 when things get really heated? And can you maximize your profits between 2024 and 2025? Again, this is for entertainment purposes only. Uh, we are not financial advisors on this show, but obviously, if you look at the history of uh, Bitcoin over the past 13 years, you'll see that 2024 and 2025 are a great opportunity. Now, it really hits me when I speak to people that don't know a lot about Bitcoin, and that's still a good amount of the US population. It would be my guess. I mean, if you're into Bitcoin, you're kind of uh, you kind of have this view that a lot of people know about the cycles. The reality is they don't know about the cycles. And so what happens is during bull runs, people get in. And my anticipation is when Bitcoin goes over 50K and hits 60K in 2024, a lot of people will FOMO in. That's why we call him Mr. FOMO, my co-host. And they won't really be educated about the cycles, or they'll be told about the cycles, but they won't pull out soon enough. And what happens is, in this market, it's not a traditional stock market. If you do not take profits, but by the way, the stock market, if you own Disney stock, you plummeted the last couple of years. So it's not just the crypto market, but if you don't take profits, uh, there's no guarantee they're going to stay forever. Absolutely not. And with Bitcoin, uh, yes, if you hold for 10 years, and it's young, 13 years, but if you held for a decade, there's a good chance you're going to do very, very well. However, the key is, can you keep your Bitcoin in a safe place, number one, and number two, can you afford to hold for that long? And a lot of people can't, or a lot of people, they choose to take profits, and rightfully so, because you have a life to live, right? You're not going to pay your bills in Bitcoin or other altcoins. It doesn't make any sense because that's a transaction. That's a tax transaction, and who wants that in the year 2023? Now, will things change? Hopefully, regulation will come sooner rather than later. But I'm saying that for 2 years on the show, and it just hasn't come. So interesting to see what happens. My guess is right now, October, I do think we'll still get over 28K again. But in terms of getting to 32, I just don't know. The volume right now is not that high. World events, obviously, we have a lot of conflict going around the world. That's not helping things. Now, when the Russia-Ukraine situation happened originally, there was a lot of Russian money going actually into digital assets. And Bitcoin kind of did rally, if you remember, when that first happened. Uh, this was during the bear market. Bitcoin had a bit of a rally, and we're not seeing that this time. And so this is a bit of a different situation. And unless some crazy events happen and we have like a historic war around the world, I still anticipate that there will be a traditional cycle. When I say traditional, take that with a grain of salt because it's going to look different, and there will be a lot of opportunity in 2024, 2025. So if you're willing to take risks in altcoins, and you look at them right now, a year from now, I think you're going to be doing really well. Again, not financial advice, but look at Ethereum right now at 1,500. It's been down for a while. It's not going to stay down forever, despite all the FUD. ETH will rally. My guess is, again, I'm just throwing out these numbers. We're looking at ETH between 5 to 10K in the next 18 months. And we'll see. We're getting closer and closer, guys, to 2024. And so it's going to become a lot of fun, hopefully. And no more worrying about when Bitcoin's going to go up, but how far it's going to go up. Those days are coming. Can't tell you exactly that date. But here's the thing. If a Bitcoin ETF is approved in 2023, which is, the forecasters are saying now there's a 90% chance. That's what the banks are saying as of last night. Well, that's pretty significant. And you could see a rally well before the halving. In fact, I anticipate it's not going to be like all of a sudden April, Bitcoin's going to be at 28 and it's going to go up to 50. Now you're going to see that slowly build, I think, in the months of February and March. Not sure about January because people are recovering from holiday spending. You look December, especially in the bear markets, people don't put assets into things that are unstable. Not that Bitcoin is unstable, but the other altcoins in the crypto market, they tend to spend what they have, and right now, to be honest, there isn't in the general public yet a hunger to buy Bitcoin below 30K, but I think that day is coming. I think the ETF approval will really spark a lot of news. And, I think the magic number next year, when you see Bitcoin go over 50K, I really think that's when you're going to see things really pick up in terms of media news and people thinking like, well, maybe I need to buy some because I don't want to miss out. And that's when, when you get retail in, that's when things really kick up. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe, that like button, bell notification, and super chats are always available. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you later. Have a good